Biological Classification, Session 4. In the last module, we had learned about Archaebacteria in kingdom Monera. In this module, we will be learning about Eubacteria and Mycoplasma. Eubacteria, they are called as true bacteria, and they are characterized by the presence of a rigid cell wall, and if motile, they have a flagella. So this is the general characteristics of eubacteria. They have a rigid cell wall, and if they are motile, they have a flagella. Cyanobacteria is an example of eubacteria. It is otherwise called as blue-green algae, and they are photosynthetic autotrophs because they have chlorophyll molecules which is similar to the chlorophyll which is present in higher plants, and they capture sunlight and bring about photosynthesis, and hence they are called as photosynthetic autotrophs. And these cyanobacteria or blue-green algae, they can be unicellular, colonial or filamentous, marine or terrestrial algae, and the colonies are surrounded by a gelatinous sheath. So that's the general characteristics of cyanobacteria. And some of the cyanobacteria, they are able to fix atmospheric nitrogen. That is, they are able to absorb the inorganic forms of nitrogen and convert it into organic form so that it is released into the soil and can be absorbed by the plants. And in order to fix nitrogen, they have specialized cells called as heterocysts. Heterocysts are specialized cells present in cyanobacteria which help in fixing of atmospheric nitrogen. Examples of cyanobacteria are nostoc and anabina. This is a picture of anabina in which these enlarged cells are the heterocysts, and they are filamentous algae and they are surrounded by a gelatinous sheath. The modes of nutrition of bacteria, they are both autotrophic and heterotrophic. That means they are mixotrophic. They show or they exhibit both autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. And based on the mode of nutrition, there are two types, autotrophic and heterotrophic. Autotrophic, again, they are divided to photosynthetic and chemosynthetic. Is it clear? Photosynthetic and chemosynthetic bacteria. Photosynthetic bacteria, they are bacteria that have green sunlight trapping pigment called as bacteriochlorophyll. And this bacterial photosynthesis does not release oxygen. They have a chlorophyll molecule called as bacteriochlorophyll, which are similar to higher plants, and they do conduct photosynthesis. But unlike the photosynthesis in higher plants, these bacteria does not release oxygen. And chemosynthetic bacteria, they oxidize, they bring about oxidation of inorganic substances like nitrate, nitrite, ammonia, and produce energy. And this energy is utilized for synthesis of ATP. And these bacteria, they help in recycling of nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur. Is it clear? And these nutrients are recycled, or the cycling of nutrients between the biotic and abiotic components takes place with the help of this chemosynthetic bacteria. Examples are the nitrifying bacteria, which help in nitrogen fixation, that is nitrosomonas, the iron containing bacteria, ferrobacillus, ferrooxidants, etc. So these are the two types of autotrophic bacteria, that is photosynthetic and chemosynthetic bacteria. Next type of nutrition is heterotrophic mode of nutrition, and they obtain food from different sources. First is they are saprophytes. Some of the heterotrophic, they obtain the nutrition as they are saprophytes. These saprophytes are called as decomposers or detrivores or transformers because they obtain food by decomposing dead bodies, excreta of animals, dead plants, and their parts. So those bacteria which obtain their food by bringing about decomposition of dead and organic matter are called as saprophytes. Some other bacteria, heterotrophic bacteria, are parasites. These are disease-causing bacteria called as pathogens. Examples are Salmonella typhimurium, which causes typhoid, Vibrio cholerae, which causes cholera. All these are the examples of parasitic bacteria which are pathogen, and they cause diseases in a host. The third type of heterotrophic bacteria are symbionts. These bacteria, they live in mutual beneficial association with other organisms like rhizobium and bacillus. Okay, rhizobium and bacillus, they are living a symbiotic relationship in the nodules of the roots of leguminous plants, and as we have already learned in lower classes, they help in nitrogen fixation. So these are the three types of heterotrophic bacteria: saprophytes, parasites, and symbions. Reproduction in bacteria. Bacteria reproduces mainly by fission or producing spores under unfavorable conditions. And this type of reproduction is called as asexual reproduction, in which only one parent is involved. So the types of asexual reproduction are fission and production of spores. And they do undergo sexual reproduction, that is transferring DNA from one bacteria to the other, and this type of reproduction is called as conjugation, in which the genetic material from one bacteria is transferred to the other bacteria through a special structure called as pilus. So asexual reproduction is by fission and spore production, and sexual reproduction is by means of conjugation. And the last type or category of kingdom Monera is mycoplasma, and they are the simplest free-living prokaryotes, and they are the smallest living organisms ever known. They are also known as PPLO, pleuropneumonia-like organisms. Pleuropneumonia-like organisms. And when archaebacteria and eubacteria, they have cell wall, mycoplasma, they lack cell wall, and they can survive without oxygen. So they are strictly anaerobic, and they cause diseases in plants and animals. So mycoplasma are the group of monerans which lack a cell wall. Is it clear, dear children? So in this module, we learned about the eubacteria, which are true bacteria, and the different characters of eubacteria, and the last type of monerans, namely mycoplasma. Thank you.